Hello, and welcome to your Implementation Essentials on-demand training. My name is Rebecca Kitchin, and I'm a trainer with eDynamic Learning, and I will be your guide today. Before we get started, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. If you did not receive a participant guide, there is a bit.ly here on the screen. You can pause the recording and go to that bit.ly and get the participant guide. There is some additional information in that guide that will support you as we go through this training, and it will also provide some resources for follow-up. Additionally, if you don't yet have your Schoology login, now's a great time to pause the recording and make sure that you can log into your Schoology account. If you have access to a second display screen, I would encourage you to follow along with me in this presentation while you are also in your own course. The structure of the courses is going to be very similar, so you will be able to follow along with what I'm doing while accessing your own course. This is our agenda for today. First, we're going to talk a little bit about who eDynamic Learning is. We're going to look at the way the courses have been structured and designed. Then we're going to go into your LMS, Schoology. We're going to look a little bit at teacher controls and then dive right into the student experience. And then we'll go back, we'll look at grading, assessments, and customization. And then at the end, I will give you additional resources that are outside of your LMS that you have access to. I would like to introduce you to eDynamic Learning. eDynamic is part of Pearson Career Ready. It's a comprehensive program that allows you to guide your students towards future-ready career choices. They're industry aligned in fields like IT, health sciences, and business. eDynamic itself is a teacher-founded company. It was founded with a mission to help students discover their passions and explore different career opportunities. Currently, we do have over 270 courses for middle school and high school students, the largest publisher of career and technical education and elective courses in North America. The courses have been designed for either synchronous or asynchronous learning environments, and they can be customized to meet your unique needs. All the curriculum is built and maintained in-house, so updates are timely, and we have very responsive customer support. There are many different ways that the courses can be implemented. They are designed so that they can be used independently by students fully online, or they can be used as a textbook in class. They really shine when we have engaged students and teacher-directed learning, and then the power of those digital resources that are available through the eDynamic courses. On the bottom of this slide, you can see other ways that the courses can be used outside of a traditional school day for enrichment and extracurricular programs. When you are in Schoology and you are delivering content, students are going to have access to the courses on their devices anywhere they have connectivity. So this includes desktops, laptops, tablets, cell phones. Because of that, it's going to be important that you set expectations for how you would like students to format their work. And eDynamic courses all include orientation materials to help get your students set up for success. Let's look at the way the courses are designed and structured. We're going to talk about the organization of the courses, but also the design process. Then we're going to look at the features and the contents of the course. And then within those courses, I'm going to show you how to find other resources that you may need. So no matter which course you're teaching, the structure is going to be really similar. You will recognize that if you're walking through the course with me and looking at your own courses on a separate screen. It's very helpful for you as a teacher. It's also very helpful for students so that when you move between courses, The heavy lift can be on the content rather than finding the content and the organization. There are multiple learning theories that have been taken into account as the courses are designed. So you're going to see simple behavioristic type elements like our flashcards where students will get immediate feedback. You'll see information in the courses chunked to limit students' cognitive load, and students will have the opportunity to construct and organize new information and new knowledge using interactive tools and building on prior knowledge. The learning theories also create a situation where students who have different learning styles and teachers who have different teaching styles have the tools they need to make the courses their own. Let's look at the design process. Our courses are all created using this backwards design process. This is a technique that starts with the end product in mind. So you can see step 1, step 2, step 3. The first thing that the eDynamic team does is identify what the desired results are. What are the students going to know or to be able to do or to understand by the end of the course? And then working with subject matter experts, they decide what the best way is for students to prove that they have mastered the content. Is it a test? Is it a final project? Step 3 is to plan all the learning experiences, and those are designed so that they support that culminating assessment and clearly help students to show that they are learning and that they have mastered the content of the course. This next section is one where, if you look at your participant guide, you're going to see some extra information. On that guide, it's going to tell you which parts of the course are going to be in each of these 3 sections. The teacher resources folder is hidden from students. The Getting Started for Students folder is visible to everyone, and it has resources that will be valuable both for students and for teachers. And then you'll see the learning units. One of the first things that's in that teacher resources folder is the pacing guide. This pacing guide tells you more than just how many weeks it's going to take to complete a unit. For this particular guide, this is an 8-unit course. It's talking about an 18-week time frame, but it also is going to include in the pacing guides different suggestions for interactive activities and experiences that you can lead your students through so that it's not just them reading the material and answering questions. There are interactives for them to engage in, to work together, and to have more experiential learning. So don't skip the activities that are in that pacing guide. Also included in that teacher resources section is a set of learning guides. These are not specific to your course. These are guides that can be used with any eDynamic course. So I do suggest that you download those when you get to them so that you can have them ready no matter what course you're working with. The last section of my inverted triangle here discusses the content of our lessons. So within each lesson, you're going to see the vocabulary that is bolded within the content. If students hover over that vocabulary, it will show the definition of the words. There are many interactives that are within the course. There's animations and videos and different drop downs. And then there is a formative assessment at the end of each set of lessons. So each unit has a check your knowledge assessment for students to make sure that they have mastered the main objectives of the lessons and that they're ready to move on to the quiz and the other activities. I will look at the podcast with you more closely in a little bit. The podcast is actually a high quality audio of the content of the lessons. So it's useful for both students and for teachers. It's great for teachers when you're just getting into a new course and you want to listen to that content. Our next step is to look at your LMS, which is Schoology. If you have two screens, now is a great time to pause, log on to your own Schoology account, and make sure that you can follow along with me. If you have any difficulty logging in, or you need assistance finding your course in your resources section or loading that course onto your dashboard, please contact your district IT Schoology expert or the person who is the point of contact between your district and eDynamic Learning. This is my landing page for Schoology. I have my settings set so that my course dashboard is what I see first. If you would like to change from recent activity to course dashboard, that is going to be under your profile picture. In the drop down, you can go into settings, and that's one of the settings that you can choose. I'm going to use Workplace and Internship Readiness as my demo course. Remember that whatever course you're using, you will be able to follow along while I use this course because the organization of the course is going to be the same. As I click into this, I do have a menu down the left side. You can see that materials is highlighted, and that is where I am seeing my course materials. These each can be unpublished or published if you want to use that as a way to pace your students and have them focus on a certain thing as you're getting started. But just know that materials, the materials tab is what's going to show you that. I would like to skip up right here to this drop down, which is course options. There are some really important course options in here. We will be viewing the course as a student in a little bit, but there's also a place to send messages, to edit information, including which school year this course is going to be attached to. And then at the bottom, you have a recycle bin, and that's where you would go if you accidentally deleted something that you want to go back and retrieve. You would look in the recycle bin and you would be able to reinstitute whatever that was from the recycle bin. So looking down this left side, updates is where you're going to be able to give messages to your students. Your gradebook is your gradebook, but before you go into your gradebook, you're going to need to make sure that you do grade setup. So I am clicking on grade setup, looking at the grade setup tab. It's important that you add some category for your course. So you can see that I have added formative and summative categories, and I have added some weight there. Weighting is optional. You could add one category that is all assignments. This is going to be dependent on your school and your district requirements. If you have other Schoology courses, this will likely be similar. There are also many other different settings that you can use within this grade setup, but it's very important that you have those settings done in order for your assignments to connect to your gradebook. If you are going to set up many courses and you're doing them all at the same time, you can use the copy settings function and copy those settings into other courses. Once your grades setup have been done, when you go to your gradebook, you can go over to this vertical ellipsis, or kebab they call it, and click on that and do bulk edit. From this screen, you will be able to add assignments to the different categories. This will connect them to the gradebook, make sure that they are in the correct calendar year, and you can also set due dates for them here. If you ever need to shift due dates, you can do that here for any number of your assignments at the same time. So shifting it a few days if there's been a disruption in your calendar or you need to shift due dates for another reason. We are going to go back into our course again because I would like to show you the content of the material. When you look here down the middle, we are in that materials tab, and you can see the teacher resources folder, the Getting Started for Students folder, and then you've got units, a midterm, and then another set of units, and the final exam. I would like for you to open up the Teacher Resources unit. You will see here the pacing guide that I mentioned that has interactive activities on it. I'm going to open this folder for the teaching guides. This is where you will find lesson plans, you will find slides that you can use with your courses. If you are working in a course that is state specific, you may see your state standards loaded in here as well. These are going to open as a Word doc. This is a lesson plan that you have the ability to make changes to so that this can be your own. This can be opened as a Google Doc as well. You can save it in your files, use it as a recipe to make the lesson the very best it can be for your class. You can see that there are some standards that are in here, objectives, activities, different kinds of instructional techniques, homework, differentiation. These are all included. Choose the things that are best for your student, and then you can save these in your files. They'll be ready for you next year. Also, in these lesson plans, you will see that they refer to slides. Those slides are also available in the teaching guide section, and they will download as a PowerPoint, which again, you can open as Google Slides if you'd like to. These can be revised, edited, you can add to them so that you can use them in your class as the structure of your class, but you can also add your own material in here. So this has some grounding questions, it has key vocabulary, and then questions as well, reflection questions for students. Let's go back to Teacher Resources. The next section here, you will see the teaching guides that I mentioned. These can be downloaded in PDF format. Save them, come back to them to use them when you want to level up in one of these areas. And then we're going to take a look at the Getting Started for Students section. So I'm going to go back to my main materials list, and I'm going to open up Getting Started for Students. I like to look at this starting at the bottom of the list. Companion courses are going to tell you other courses that are either related to the course that you're working in or things that students may be interested in taking if this was a course that they enjoyed. You also have the course bibliography. All the course vocabulary is available here. And this is in the student folder, so students will have access to this if you leave this as a published resource. Required materials, I'm going to open that up and show you. This will tell you anything that you need to teach the course that is not actually in the digital content. So for this particular unit, it's telling me that I may need a video recording device, I may need different kinds of software, and then it will go through and tell me unit by unit, activity by activity, when I need those things. So if there is a case where you need to adjust a lesson because you don't have access to a certain tool or your students don't have access to them, you'll know that ahead of time and you won't be caught off guard. The next section in this Getting Started for Students folder is the course syllabus. This is going to give you an outline of everything that is being taught in the course. Even if you are making adjustments to the course, this is a good framework to share with your students so that they can see what that content looks like and how it flows. You can create a PDF of this, and this is a great practice assignment to have the whole class together download this and save it into a specific folder so that they can create a digital notebook as they're working in class. Going back into my Getting Started for Students section, if the course that you're teaching has an industry certification attached to it. So it's a course that helps lead students and helps prepare students for that industry certification test. You will see a section in this Getting Started for Students folder that gives information about what other courses they may need to take and how they can contact the people that they need to contact in order to schedule those tests. eDynamic does not provide those tests, but we absolutely will refer students to the place that they need to go in order to take those industry certification tests. The last section we're going to look at in the Getting Started for Students folder is how to be successful in an eDynamic learning course. I mentioned to you that we have materials that are great for orienting your students to digital learning. This is a really important part of getting students started in their courses. So this is a great place to spend some time the first few days of your class so that they know how to use the course features, study tips, how they're going to be graded. This will walk them through student-facing information about the literacy toolbar, about the podcasts, study tips, lots of things about each rubric that they'll be looking at. Every assignment includes a rubric so that they know how they're being scored. We encourage you to have class standards in addition to these so that they know what your expectations are when they're turning work into you. As I go down here farther, there is a section on avoiding plagiarism, lots of information about academic honesty, and some tools and links for students that will help them to be able to avoid plagiarism. And there's also an honor code pledge. And there is information here about AI. This is a great time for you as a class to stop, have a conversation about your school's policy for AI use, and then anything else that your student may have already seen but may not have paid close to attention to. So student handbooks, acceptable use policies, all those things that help our students to be responsible in their use of digital tools and digital learning. I'm going to go back to the materials section. So let's take a look at the other things that are in this class. I am going to open up Unit 3, and that may be a surprise. You can open up any unit and it's going to have the same format. So right now I'm going to open up Unit 3. You'll see every unit starts with an introduction, and then the lessons. The podcast is here, and then this is where your activities begin. Critical thinking questions. There'll be different numbers of activities and labs depending on what the course is. Flashcards that are not graded, and then there is a computer scored quiz, and there are discussion questions that can either be done in class or students can do these digitally and submit their work to the Gradebook. I am going to take a look at first the introduction. This is going to ground students in what they're going to be learning in this unit. This play button here is the podcast just for this particular page. And then when they complete that, we're going to go on to the next thing, which is Lesson 1 of Unit 3. And as I scroll through this, I want to show you some of the features that we have. You can see this is a vocabulary term. If I hover over it, it's going to give me definitions. As I go down farther, this is a rotator. So if I click the arrow, it's going to give me information, and there's going to be captions under these pictures. There are some times where there is very important information in these rotators. So encourage your students, if they're working independently, not to skip them, to make sure that they are actually going through them and reading the information. Those things also are a great place to pause and have students do partner work or elbow partners or small group work, and then share back. I'm going to go back to Unit 3 with my breadcrumbs. Let's now take a look at lesson number 5. Lesson 5 is the last lesson before the activities and the quiz. So this is the place that I'm going to find the formative assessment, but I also want to show you some of the other features that we have in the courses that students are going to be working with. As this opens, you will see that there are more engaging photos. You can see a list here. As I go down farther, you'll see drop downs. These are not cute little bullet-shaped arrows. These are drop downs that have additional information. And in these, you will see information that students will use for their coursework. This is a great place to pause and share with a partner or work in a small group, and then come back and report to the whole class. And then down here, you see that knowledge check, and each of these questions is attached to one of the objectives for the unit. So this will check students. They will know for sure that they are ready to move on to the quiz and the activities. And of course, you can do these in class as a whole group, or you can have your students work on these individually. I also want to show you, I'm going to scroll all the way back to the top. I want to show you the accessibility toolbar. You will see this in your courses, and this is a tool that each student and each teacher has access to create their own settings. In the toolbar, the first 4 buttons are going to select an area, play, pause, and stop. And I want you to hear what it sounds like when the screen reader works.
As you've learned, employers look for certain employability skills.
So that is our screen reader. We have a podcast that is a professional recording of the content. This is for students to get in there and work specifically in the course and to be able to reread sections. This screen reader can be slowed down if you have students who need to hear the content at a slower pace. The next tool that is on here is a translator. Your students can highlight any portion or all of a page and then click the translate button. This particular language, they can click the play button and it will read this to them.
Documentar sus comportamientos laborales.
Some languages you're only going to see the written translation, but if you see that arrow, that will mean that the audio is also available. The next tool is the dictionary. If I highlight a word and then click dictionary, it's going to give me the pronunciation of the word, and then also I can play the different definitions. The next tool is a picture dictionary. So if I highlight a word and then click on the picture dictionary, it's going to show me an image that relates to that word. This is great when you're working with students and you need to have them draw pictures to explain their vocabulary. This is a great sample for them. Then you have the highlighting tools. When I click on this, if I highlight an area, and I can do this for terms and for vocabulary, if I'm looking for definitions in the text, if I'm comparing and contrasting. And then after they have highlighted things in the different colors that you have assigned to them, maybe they need to strike something out because this doesn't make any sense or doesn't apply to what they're doing, they can collect those highlights, and they're going to be collected in groups by color. And then these can be copied and pasted onto another document to turn in for an assignment when they click off the page, these highlights will not stay here. The next tool is the screen masking tool. You can change this to a line. You can change the width of the line on here. This is really good for students who need tracking assistance, but it's also great if you are putting something up on the board and you want your students to focus on a particular area. The settings here will give you the ability to change your screen tools. So this is where you would change it into a line or change the different color. You've got your translation options with all the different languages, and the ones with audio are marked with that speaker, but the translations are there for everything. And then general, if you have a student who is using this as a screen reader, they can slow down the voice speed or speed it up. Each student has their own accessibility toolbar. If you have people working with your students who are going to need to help your students set these up, make sure that they know how to do this. In a few minutes, I will show you where you can find a student-facing video that will walk students through this whole process and explain the toolbar. We're going to go back into the unit, and you'll see after those lessons, the next thing that you see is the podcast. When you have this in your course and you want to move things around, for example, you want to put the podcast up before the lesson because you know students are going to use it, you can slide that up and then students will see the podcast first. I'm going to open this so that you can see what this tool looks like. You have 3 different ways you can use it. It will show you how long the content is. This is going to read through all the lessons of this particular unit. So I've got 55 minutes of content. I can change the speed by speeding it up. I cannot slow it down here. And then I could download this if I wanted to, or I can use it as a pop-up player that will stay in front of the content. If you want students to be listening to headphones while they are reading the material, this pop-up player is very helpful for that. So this podcast is really helpful both for students and for teachers. If you are just teaching this course for the first time, it's very helpful to be able to listen to the content as you are working on other things as well. Looking back in the course, I want to point out that there are interactive flashcards here. There is a quiz that is computer scored, and this is going to be a multiple choice quiz. Those quiz questions come from a quiz bank of 50, and there will be 15 questions that students are going to answer for the computer scored quiz, and then you have discussions. Right now, I would like to show you what it looks like when a student goes to actually submit work. Remember when I mentioned this course options button up here? I am going to click on course options. I'm going to view the course as, and I just have one student right now. So I'm going to view as this student, and now I can go in. I'm again working in Unit 3, and I'm going to look at the critical thinking questions in Unit 3. So those are right below that lesson. When I open the critical thinking questions, I will see the questions and then the rubric below it. Some people prefer to have the students copy and paste both the questions and the rubric. For our purposes here, I am going to just copy the questions, and then I'm going to copy these and then navigate to the next page. The next page is the Dropbox. So this is where, as a student, I'm going to submit the assignment. I'm going to click Submit Assignment. I can either upload something. So this could be a file. I could create an audio or video, or I can click create and students can work right in this window here. They can put whatever heading you want on that paper, and then they have lots of tools if they want to go in here and change the font so that the questions and the answers are different colors, however you want them to create their work so that it is formatted for you to easily score it when it is turned in. So if they are working within this window, that's how they're going to do it. If they are uploading, they can add a link. Many times your Google account or Microsoft account will be attached here depending on your district settings, and they would be able to submit directly here. So they would submit, and then that is connected to the gradebook on the other side. I'm going to move back to the unit, and I want to show you what the discussions look like. Students here will write a comment in the box. I like for them, when they complete these discussions, I like for them to copy the question into the box. Many times these discussions are going to have multiple parts, and I like for them to even break this up so that the questions are separated so that they can see that they're not just answering one question, but they are answering many questions within that. So they are to use complete sentences, and make sure that you set your expectations for them as they are turning this in order to submit that answer. If you're doing it digitally, they would click post. As a student, once I have submitted things and I'm going to go in to check the grades that I have received, I'm going to go to my grades button, and this will show things that I have turned in and things that have been graded, and it also shows any comments that have been put into the gradebook, and we'll look at those more carefully when we're looking at things from the teacher point of view. But that grades thing will show them what their grades look like, and they can actually go in then and open up their assignment and see any feedback that you have left for them. I'm going to go up to this button that says back to course, and that will take me back. I am now back in my teacher view. We looked at grade setup before. I now want to take a look at the gradebook. In the gradebook, you will see students' names listed on the left side. You also have a place where you can message them. You can look at statistics specifically for this student, and then you can go in and see these different assignments that have been turned in. I want to show you a sample of a student that has turned in a critical thinking assignment and has received feedback. When I click here, it will open up this assignment. You have the ability to write on students' work. You can leave comments. You can leave other comments here. There is the ability to attach a file or to do an audio or video recording. Here's the catch, in case you are not super familiar with Schoology. If you leave all the amazing feedback and you do not give them a note that says, open your assignment for more feedback, and click show it to your student, when they click on their grades, they will not have any idea that you have left this amazing feedback here. So make sure that if you are going to make amazing use of this feedback section, that you give them that indicator that you have given them other feedback on their assignments. Moving out of this assignment, and we're looking at this gradebook, looking at grades. the things that are auto-graded versus the things that you are going to manually grade. The only things that are computer scored are quizzes, midterms, and finals. Anything else that you assign to your students, you will be giving them feedback on. I'd like to give you a little information about discussions. By default, your discussions may not be attached to your gradebook. You can see here that I have attached this discussion. If you want your discussions to be a graded activity, you're going to go into that materials list again. This is where you see all your content. I'm going to open up Unit 3 again, and I'm going to go down to my discussions. If I want them attached to the gradebook, I need to edit, and then I need to assign them to a category. At this point, the grading is not enabled. I only want them to be worth 5 points. And then in order for them to be attached to the gradebook, I need to choose a category that they are going to be attached to in that gradebook. So I'm going to cancel that. We're going to go out here again. That is in your actual course where you are seeing the discussions. You're going to open the settings and then edit. And that's where you're going to go in and enable grading, assign the category, and select a number of points. After you have done that, you will see that in your gradebook again. And when I go in to score the discussions, I will see what my students have written, and I am going to grade an individual assignment here, or I can go up to the top and I can do all of the discussions at the same time. Let's go back to materials. Looking at the gradebook is one place that you can get data about your students and about how your class is doing. So from this gradebook, the first place I would go to get some information is from this little kebab. This is the same one that we looked at for bulk editing and adding our due dates in, but this is a place where I can print reports. And there are just a few reports available here. I can select my students, generate a report, and it's going to tell me what that grade book looks like from the student view. So this is going to be great if you are going into parent-teacher conferences. Another thing, when we look at our grade book, another place that you can get some data is when you go into this little kebab underneath the name of the assignment, and you can go down here and you can view the statistics. So this will tell you all your students, how they did on this assignment. If you think there may be a concern with what was emphasized before a test, and you look and you see that many of your students did not do well because you've looked at the statistics on that test, that will give you additional information. If you want to go into analytics, here is another place that you can get some data. And this will show you the last time a student logged in, the course materials that they worked on, and how much time they spent. If you want to see individual information about how a student was spending their time in the course, you can click on their individual name, and this will give you that information. I'm going to click back. Let's talk about customization. We've talked about grading, we've talked about assessments. Let's talk about customizing things in Schoology. So in order to make your courses your own, you can edit, rearrange, modify, embed, add, link. All of these things are possible in your Schoology course. We are really excited that eDynamic courses can be not a one-size-fits-all solution, but you can make them what you need them to be to fit your classroom goals and to help your students succeed. So there is no one right way to assign work. Within Schoology, you are able to rearrange, publish, and unpublish things. So that's this button here. I showed you how you could drag things within your units. You can also move units, like an entire unit, if it will align with your curriculum better. So when it comes to rearranging units, I would encourage you to leave 1, 2, 3, 4 together because they are closely tied to that midterm. 5, 6, 7, 8 are closely tied to the final exam. So if you're going to move things from one half of the course to the other half, you may find that the tests don't line up the way they would if you left the beginning and the end as a cohesive unit. Within your courses and within your units, you have the ability to publish and unpublish sections. I strongly encourage you to leave all the lesson content visible and published for your students. This is what everything else in the course is connected to. So this is what all the critical thinking questions, the flashcards, the quizzes, everything is based on the material from those lessons. So don't unpublish those unless you have another specific way that you're going to cover that exact content. Another thing that you can do is to add your own materials, just like you can in other Schoology courses. If I click Add Materials here and I want to add an assignment, I can create an assignment here, and then I can slide it into whatever portion of the course I would like for it to be in. It can be set to a category. It can be graded or ungraded. You have a lot of different options for putting your own assignments and projects into your Schoology course. Moving back to our slideshow, I would like to show you some additional resources that you have access to, not within your course, but on the eDynamic Learning website. So will you please navigate to eDynamicLearning.com. We are going to take a look at those additional resources. There are 4 places that I would like to show you on the website. The very first one, top center, is the support tab. I'm going to right click on this and open it in a new tab, and that will give me the landing page for our support team. There are some facts here. If you have a specific issue that you need help with, you can click contact support here or down here, and that will open up this form. Fill out all the fields, including the priority level. You can include links to shared documents, describe exactly what's going on so that when the team gets back to you, they can have already started with a solution. When you submit this, you will get an auto reply with a case number, and then they will get back to you depending on the priority level that you have put on this. So a low priority is, hey, I just wanted to let you know. Urgent is, it's the last week of school and we can't progress in our unit. So select those and they will absolutely follow up with you. Our support team is amazing. I'm going back to that main page. So support is number 1. Number 2 is under the resources button. I'm going to go to this drop down here to curriculum teacher resources. Some of the resources in this area are specific to a different LMS. So I'm going to go below the quick start guides and into this area where it is the pacing guides. These are the same pacing guides that you saw in your course with the addition of a sample for a block schedule. Remember, these pacing guides have activities in them. They're not just how quickly to move through the course. You can build your own. There is a blank one available to you there. And then let's look at these quick links. Course placement resources are going to be for people who are making higher level decisions about what your program is going to look like and looking at placement guides. Tech support is another place that you can access the support team. Professional development is additional workshops that your school or district can pay for. I want to open the student corner. So I'm going to right click again, open up that student corner in another tab. And again, some of these are in a different LMS, but if you go down to the bottom one, this is that literacy support toolbar video that I was mentioning. If you open that on YouTube, you will be able to grab that URL and even create an assignment in your course so that students have access to that student-facing video. This is also really good to present in class if you need another voice to walk them through how to use that literacy support toolbar. So I'm going to go back to my curriculum teacher resources again. Remember, we're slid all the way down here to our quick links. That was our student corner, webinars and workshops, great PD things, no cost events. There is a YouTube channel that has videos that are between usually 2 and 8 minutes long that will give you a lot of tutorials and other kinds of helpful, both teacher-facing and sometimes student-facing material. So that was the second place I wanted to show you, curriculum teacher resources. The third thing I'd just like to note for you under our solutions is where you will find information about industry certifications, including our pass promise and a list of those certifications along with their different certifying organizations. So you can go into any one of those categories to see those. So that is number 3. Number 4, I'd like you to look under our products. Our products is the area where you will find information about simulations like Knowledge Matters and Learning Blade. This is also where you can find the digital curriculum catalogs. I'm going to scroll down here. You will see there is a full catalog and then curriculum libraries. Let's take a look at the middle school library. You'll see there's also a high school and a high school CTE catalog. When I go through this, I've got access to preview those courses digitally. There is also a place where I can download specifically the middle school library list. So those are the 4 things that I wanted to show you on the eDynamic website: support, curriculum teacher resources, where you can find industry certification information, and where you can find our catalog. Thank you so much for spending your time with me here today. If you have follow-up questions, on your screen there is an email and a phone number for you to access. Have a wonderful time as you implement your eDynamic learning courses.